Hello, Abnormal Investigations family. It is good to see you guys. I have an encounter for you. It's not going to be a real long one this time, but it is one from Grand Lake, the Cherokees, guys, here in Oklahoma. I got this one sent in, and since it was an Oklahoma one and I'm out of Oklahoma, well, I'm a whole lot partial to Oklahoma. So, boomer sooners. But what I would like to say is, I think you're going to enjoy this one. Is it a rather shorter one? But I know you all really do like these kind because, well, let's just get into it and see what y'all think. It was early November. It was that kind of weather that it didn't matter how much clothes you put on, you were still frozen to the bone. Now, up here in Grove, Oklahoma, right by the edge of Grand Lake of the Cherokees, I'd lived in the area my whole life, mostly keeping to myself, doing odd jobs on local farms and spending every spare minute fishing or hunting in the rougher country west of the lake. I knew those woods like the back of my hand, or so I thought. This part of the state, especially the foothills leading into the Ozarks, is thick with history. Oklahoma has many tales of creatures, and I know you know that, Mike, and a lot of them come from the native stories passed down through the generations. Choctaw, Cherokee, Creek, they all have names for the unexplainable that walk these lands. The locals here, though, the ones who, know better, they don't use the word myth. They use the word real. I had promised to scout a large overgrown property off a county road west of the lake, land that hadn't been cleared in decades. I was looking for coyote signs. The owner was having trouble with his chickens. It was around 3:30 p.m., the sun already starting to dip behind the rolling hills. I was pushing through the dense thicket of greenbrier and cedar when a wave of odor hit me, Mike. It was sickening. It was so sudden and intense my eyes instantly watered, and I nearly gagged. It wasn't a skunk or a deer carcass or even a wet dog. It was a combination of all the worst things: rotten meat, stagnant swamp water, and something else. It was just musky, animalistic smell that spoke of something wrong. It was sickening strong, and it instantly put me on edge. Now I stopped dead, the hair on my arm standing up. I was solo. My old blue heeler, Buck, back at the truck with a bum paw. He was hurt from a hunting trip we'd done earlier in the week. Now the sudden absolute silence of the woods followed. When the smell hit, it was like everything ran away, left, or got quiet, maybe even hid. There was no jays squawking, no rustle of squirrels, just unnerving heavy quietness that the quiet of old timers would tell you means that there was a predator in the area and you needed to be alert. A low growl. It was like a vibration in the ground beneath my feet, hard to explain than an audible sound. It rippled through the air. I will never forget it. It wasn't the noise of a bear or a typical predator. It felt, I don't know, large, maybe, heavy. A sound that spoke of deep territorial anger. Something it was defending like a cave or a nest or a hole. It's hard to explain. But it came from about 50 yards ahead of me, and it was by a rock overhanging that led into a small, dark cave system that I had seen many years ago while squirrel hunting. I slowly brought my hunting rifle up, clicking the safety off with a soft click that sounded like a gunshot to me in the silence. Now I scanned the area, trying to pinpoint the source of the noise. The light was failing fast now, long, deep shadows stretching out over every tree. A large branch snapped in the near distance. That crack, I mean, Mike, it echoed across that water like a gunshot. I spun around to see where the sound was coming from. And that's whenever I caught it. It was a brief, horrifying glimpse of movement crossing a small clearing about 60 yards out. It was too fast, A blur of dark, matted fur, it moved with an awkward, heavy lope. But it was covered. It looked like in grass. And it was covering the ground with terrifying speed. This thing was massive, bulky across the shoulders, and the way it moved, the strange ape-like gait, wasn't right. I knew immediately it wasn't a bear or a hog. It paused at the edge of the clearing, partially obscured by a thick oak tree, and that's when I realized it was standing upright on two legs. It must have been 7, maybe 8 foot tall. It had two eyes that were set deep in a massive wolf-like head, glowed with a faint, eerie reddish glow. It wasn't reflective light, I don't think, Mike, the way they glowed. It was weird. It was like a deer's eyes and headlights, but an internal, unsettling glow that was inside almost of its skull. Yeah, I know, people think I'm crazy now, but I'm telling you, its eyes were glowing. Now, could it have been from the sun? Absolutely, but I'm telling you, I've never seen eyes glow like this in the daylight. The stench, oh my God, the stench, it intensified. It almost made me sick again. It made my stomach turn. We were locked in a silent standoff. I was afraid to move. Yeah, my heart was pounding, and every instinct I had screamed at me to run. But my basic survival instinct told me that you don't run or show fear to a predator because it will only cause them to attack or to pursue you. I'm not saying it wasn't hard not to, though, because I really wanted to run. It let out a low huff, a breath of air that misted in the cold, and then it turned its massive head slightly. The profile was unmistakably large, with long, large, ape-looking arms. It was a monstrous scale, very powerful looking. After what felt like an eternity of frozen time, the creature simply turned and disappeared into the dense underbrush of the ravine. I heard its heavy, methodical footfalls, each one a dull thud on a leaf-covered ground. I heard the damn thing running. It was large. I didn't wait around. I turned tail and I ran about a half a mile back to my truck when I knew it was clear to leave, tearing through the thorns and brush, gasping for air. By the time I got back to my truck, old Buck was cowering in the front seat, scared to death. He had slobbered all over the windows. I could tell he had been wanting out of the truck. I drove down that road as fast as I could as my dog looked out the rearview window, as if he was trying to find out what was following us or what was there. I ain't never seen nothing like that before in my life, and I don't plan on going back to that area. He can have that thicket. I got plenty other places to hunt. If he wants that old overgrown bottoms down there on that old creek, he can have it. I don't ever want to see anything like that ever again. Thank you for sharing my story. You know, a lot of people talk about when they go into the thick briars, they seem to be in there. And it almost makes me wonder if it's like the rabbits, you know, how they use the briars to kind of protect themselves from the predators. Because who wants to go into a whole bunch of briars, right? I wonder if they use them like that themselves. Guys, I hope you enjoyed another one from Oklahoma. Thank you so very much for sending these in. Send me all of them you can, guys. I love reading them, love sharing them. Thank you guys for being here. And until next time, guys, keep your head on the swivel. Don't be something thinner. And remember, you never know when you're going to run onto one of these. How will you react if you did? Could you stay calm? Could you not run? Or would you run in fear? Let me know in the comments. What do you think you would do?